was worried there for a moment, Dave.
Yeah.
It's close. Right, mate, let's check if we're live, shall we? If you're joining us, do say hello. Let's double check, Dave. Hello. All right, Dave, you're on. Let's have a little look, see if we got any joining us. Let's have a little look.
Yeah, we're live, and we're live.
We're live, good. Yeah, I can see we are live. Awesome. Great stuff.
Oh, right, hey, everyone. That was like good. Everception, that was.
Yeah, signal's a bit low, but we'll crack on anyway. Yeah, we're on the internet. We've had a few electrical issues over the last hour. Hopefully we keep going. Anyway, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, another Tuesday tune in today. Got a cracking episode today. All around. Well, before we go any further, actually, Dave, happy birthday. It's Dave's birthday today. Look at him. He's on the live.
Thank you very much.
People didn't even need telling, Dave. They were already on it. But,
again, loads of birthday wishes. I didn't even know everyone knew. Thank you very much. Namaste, Anuj. Thank you very much.
Yeah, heaps of guys on here and ladies as well. We got Ramona, James, Marky V. Good to see you on, mate. Julie, Suzette, Laura, Jim, Simon, Sital, Paula. Obviously, EverTrek's on here. Joel, Andy. We got Leah all the way from Australia. We got Nuj all the way from Nepal. We've got Paula, Asher, Andrew, Mick, all the way from Penavan. Only joking, Mick. Usually you're at Penavan. Yeah, and Bernie as well. Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, great to see so many people on. If you have joined us, do say hello. Do drop us a little comment. Give us a little thumbs up, wave. Even a little birthday cake if you want to wish Dave a happy birthday. But Dave, yeah. Mate, I can't believe 48 today, isn't it?
Well, something like that, mate. Yeah, it feels like 48. I got the knees of a 48-year-old now, but actually that's a bit mean, isn't it? A 78-year-old, I should say. But no, yeah, it's good. Also wanted to say thank you to Leah for the crutch recommendation. Ordered myself the exact same set that she recommended. So hopefully I've been trying to get back to everyone that sent me an email and stuff like that. But there were so many. Honestly, it's so weird. But for everyone to say thank you. But no, yeah, thank you very much for my birthday wishes, everyone. About a good day so far. What better way to spend it than be on the live?
I know, Dave. I did say, Dave, it's okay. You can have a day off, but he just loves the Tuesday tune-ins.
Yeah, and also gotta go meet my surgeon later as well. So it's an awesome little birthday I've got planned.
Good man. Yeah, well, look, cheers for being with us, Dave, and yeah, hopefully we'll take on all of the questions that we've had in today. We've had a few early on. Lauren has dropped them. We got them on the old phone here, so we got a couple come through. But yeah, any other questions, guys, about anything at all trekking related, birthday related, knee related, anything at all, do drop them in the comments. That's what we're here for. Yeah. And yeah, with how do we start, Dave? Obviously, it's around mindset today, mountain mindset, because it's May the 4th, and Dave was like, we've got to do a Star Wars one. It's May the 4th, Star Wars Day. How do we link that into trekking? Yeah. Well, it's quite easy, Dave, isn't it? It's not too far different, right?
No, yeah. I mean, first of all, it's May the 4th day. May the 4th be with you. Never gets old on your birthday. I have had only Star Wars cards for the last 30 years. Actually, that's not true. Andy got me a Back to the Future one, so that's good. Really hope he can.
Well, that's in the past now.
Yeah, if you could send me 3 weeks prior and ask me not to go on a bike ride, that'd be awesome, please, mate. But no, we wanted to do it because we thought, well, about the Force and stuff like that, and then we always like to kind of link things in, and we were thinking, well, actually, the Force is kind of real if we're talking about things, and it may not be shooting lightning from your fingers and stuff like that, but given what you can achieve and what you can do using just the power of your mind is something that's really important. And we have always said that there's a lot of questions that we get before people want to go on a trip, and they're all problems or perceived problems that they have that aren't really solved by buy this set of boots, use poles, go here, go there. It's actually, in order to solve the problem, you have to just get them thinking in a slightly different way. The most common example is, can I do Everest Base Camp? Well, I'm deathly afraid of heights. Am I too old to go on this trip? What happens if I slow the group down? And that's all before you go. And then when you're there, things might get tough and things might get difficult. And it's about, channeling that sort of drive to kind of do it. And we always say, the mind can achieve amazing things, whether that's climb Everest or climb your Everest, which might be learning to walk again or passing your driving test or doing any type of thing like that. It's so much easier if sort of mind and body are in perfect harmony.
Exactly, Dave. And I obviously I don't want to sort of keep sort of bringing this back to your injury, Dave, from a couple of weeks ago. I know we've it's all, I mean, it's the closest thing. We were talking about it before the live, and essentially, Dave, obviously you were quite a low point after the injury, and obviously it's been a bit of a journey over the last couple of weeks, and you got some you kind of on that road now to the recovery essentially. Okay, you got a few more, some big obstacles to come, but your mindset has changed a little bit now, and like you said there about learning to walk again. I think okay, I like yourself over the last couple of weeks, you haven't been able to do the things that you used to do.
No.
And now that's kind of, that little bit of perspective now has made you think about that. But, I've noticed a difference even, how you're feeling now is like, I can see it's the usual Dave, like, you come in, you're full of beans, and it's, that's really inspiring to see. But I think when we were talking off live, it was around that, all the things that people go through. And yeah, like Dave said, not really force lighting, anything like that, not force push, but all the things you can use to power your way to get into where you need to get to. And we always talk about the muscle in the between the ears, most important muscle. I know it's not a muscle, but if you get there where I'm coming from, it's really important to get that in the right place. Because if you get that in the right place, our belief is that anyone can do what they want to do, essentially. Okay, I know there's certain obstacles in the way that we like to think we can help with that. But essentially, if you wanted to get to Summit Kilimanjaro, you want to get to Aconcagua, Everest Base Camp, big goals, or even perceived big goals, because when you get there, you realize, okay, that was cool. What's next? What's the next challenge? And just doing that makes you realize, you can just push yourself to achieve things. You can do it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I remember like after my knee exploded on the mountain, like that Saturday that it happened. So it happened Saturday afternoon. Saturday night was probably the lowest point. And then I remember thinking, like, that it's first of all a bit of perspective. It's not the end of the world. It's just a knee. It's not my spine or my head or my heart or anything I can't do without. It's just a knee. It will repair itself, or I'll have a new one put in. Either way, it's not the end of the world. And secondly, I thought I'm making this journey so much harder on myself by being down and negative about it and thinking about all the things that I can't do right now. It's not that I'll never do them again, but I can't run, I can't walk, I can't drive a manual, I can't ride my bike. So I was getting a bit bogged down in sort of the what I can't do, instead of focusing on what I should be doing. Which is obviously the rehab, the looking after it. I mean, it's early doors yet, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks, maybe I'll have the operation. So that's step one, get that done. Then step two is, okay, I'm going to treat my knee like I would any challenge. I'm going to rehab it. I want it to be better than it was before I had the accident. Okay, so that's challenge two. And then, set myself another goal. So I want to do Tupgal, hopefully by November, get myself back into climbing mountains and high altitude, and then Aconcagua then next year. So all off the back of a knee injury. And that's just a little, a snapshot of, my perspective, but it can be anything. It doesn't even have to be an injury. It can be a fear, something that's holding you back from doing something because you're scared of something, like the going over the bridges on the way to base camp. A lot of people are afraid of those, and we can't make the bridges any lower or closer to the ground for you. All we can do is try and get your mindset in a way that's no longer going to be a barrier for you. And it's the same about, will I be too slow on the base camp trip? Well, we can't necessarily speed you up if that's your pace, but we can help you understand why that might be a good thing. And then there's, the other question, am I too old to go? Well, actually, we can't make you any younger, at least not yet. But we can help you understand that what trekking is like, what trekking at altitude is like, and why age is irrelevant largely. It's more to do with the mindset and whether you believe you can do it or not. And that is probably 99% of the journey is the self-belief. And it can be a huge part of what you guys got to go through in order to prepare for the trips, is that self-belief and thinking, is this something that I can do, or can everybody do it? I guarantee you there are probably EverTrekkers now listening to this who at some point in their life never ever thought they'd go to base camp, and now they've been to base camp, and now they're like the old hats. They're the veterans giving the other people advice. And that's the kind of perspective we wanted to talk about, really.
Yeah, well, it's huge, isn't it? I mean, Dave, I know when we first, way back when, probably 2015, 2016 when I went to Everest Base Camp and I came back and you went, geez, Dan's been to Everest Base Camp. Right, and it encouraged you to kind of proverbial kick at the backside to go, right? It was, you thought, well, okay, it's achievable, it's reachable now, because if someone like Andy can do it, I know he wasn't, but just a normal bloke, really, not necessarily a triathlete, not a superhero, nothing like that, but he reached something that I wanted to do. Essentially, that's what you're thinking, right?
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
We've had loads of conversations since, and I've seen that loads of times. Dave, you said there about EverTrekkers who, at one point in their life, thought, about Everest, and it was something that somebody else did, and then when they've actually done it, they're like, oh, holy crap, I'm that person.
Yeah.
And it's I find that really inspiring. And there's a few things, whilst we're covering mountain mindset, I think something I've learned, and a few things that maybe gave me the kick. I certainly, you get that big, say you've got a big to-do list, for example, just just trying to use metaphors here, and it seems like unsurmountable because there's like 40 things on the list. You have so much time, and something I find really valuable is obviously breaking that down a little bit, breaking it into sections. And I think if we look at a trip, when you're looking at it, okay, you've got maybe 11 days, say 8 days to get to Everest Base Camp. Let's use that as an example. And you're thinking, geez, it can feel a long way. Now, I know a lot of you on here, previous EverTrekkers. I mean, if there's anyone on here who hasn't been to Everest Base Camp yet, think of it, instead of thinking, wow, okay, that's really difficult. I always find that breaking things down into sections, whether it's a to-do list, it'd be a lot easier if it was only 3 things I had to do today. And the same goes with a challenge like Base Camp or Kili or Machu Picchu, or any challenge that you can do. If you break it down into small chunks, I mean, I've said this before. I think last year I did a little video around Mental Health Week. Previous year, and I spoke about some people getting kind of thinking, oh my God, I got so much to do. Can I do that? When you break it down into sections, my oh my, does it become more achievable? And I think if you could do that, and I don't want to feel like I'm teaching people to suck eggs here, because it seems quite a simple thing. And look, a lot of the things we talk about are simple, and simple things done right can be making a difference. And that's one of the things, don't think, okay, wow, that's bloody hard. Break it down. You'd be surprised what you can do by doing that.
Yeah. Just like in some of the comments here. So Julie, I like age is irrelevant. Good. It is totally irrelevant.
Yeah.
I went to base camp in October 2019 with guy Dave Balmont, 72, and he was he's one of the just. And what was striking about him, and maybe this comes with age, is that he didn't have any of the anxieties or the competitiveness or the sort of angst that you kind of find in perhaps some younger people. Maybe he had the experience of his years and was there just to experience the trip, and he kind of he went at his own pace. He got to base camp and back perfectly fine and healthily. He experienced everything he wanted to, at 72 years of age, and I was amazed. I mean, not that I doubted him from the beginning, but there were other people in the group who were like 20, 30 years younger than him who struggled a lot more. That guy, props to Dave, man, doing it at 72. But it really did, that's what brought it home to me, was like, you know what, it's like, he didn't go there with any of the baggage, and sure, his knees probably hurt a bit more than he let on, and he was a bit achy in the cold mornings and stuff like that. But that's just part of it, it's 8 days or 11 days trekking out of your life. He'd soon be back home in his comfortable little house and stuff like that, but he was happy to be there and enjoy the challenge. And I think that was one of the things that struck me about him, was just his mindset, just that free of worry, free of angst, living in the moment, doing everything right, of course, and taking it seriously, but free of unnecessary worry. And it made a massive difference to him.
It does bring that perspective into it as well, doesn't it, Dave? I know we've talked about this before, and seeing someone like Dave, who 72, where there's people who
Dave Balmont, by the way.
Dave Balmont, sorry.
Yeah, he's 72. I'm 38.
Are you sure, Dave?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I can't walk.
No, I'm only kidding. No, it's massively inspiring. It certainly gives you a kick at the backside when you're having one of those days, and it might not be as much motivation as as other days. And I don't know if any of you saw my post or email I sent out this morning around about speed, and speed's not really important. Forward is forward, essentially. And I know that with Dave or some of our EverTrekkers like Alan Smith, I think he was similar sort of age, going there, just moving small bits at a time. You realize how far you get sometimes. And you're not as fast as the other guys, and you don't need to keep up with them, especially at altitude. I mean, if there's one thing at altitude, us slow coaches, it's brilliant. I go hiking at sea level, especially with a good old great bold Yeti John, who was fast. On a sea level, he is quick in the mountains, and it's great. And I've been with fast people, but at altitude, it's a real leveler. Yeah. And it's great because, if you want to hang in the back and have a good time, take pictures, enjoy yourself, because it's all a journey and it's all about the journey. That's why altitude's so fun, because it's a real level playing field. And actually, the slower you go, the better it is, and the better you acclimatize. So, I don't want to harp on about that too much, but I want everyone to remember that speed is nothing at altitude. Okay, if you're climbing Everest and you've got to get up and down at a certain time, that's fine. But we're not climbing Everest right now. We're going to Everest Base Camp, or we're going to Kilimanjaro. Yeah. And we need to take our time and go slow, enjoy it, enjoy the journey. And that I'm sure you'll have an awesome time. And you have less altitude issues.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is important.
It's funny, Joel Palmer said 38, Dave. I just spat my coffee all over my screen. I'm hoping that's because you're like, oh my God, like he's 38. There's hope for us all, However, I do suspect it was more like the other way. But
you never know. You never know. Maybe Joel can say. But Dave, before we go any further, I know we've got a couple of little prezzies for you on the live, so I will just pass them over to you if you can.
Okay, is this the right way? Okay, yep. And here we go. So first one I've got here. Nice, that was smooth, wasn't it? That was seamless. First one I've got here, which is obviously being a trekker, is a traveling place, and it's quite an interesting. I don't know if I can read all these out, but it's a map, a world map of all the route place names in the world. So I mean, a couple of ones. I just want to point out these aren't swearing. These are legitimate places. Okay, so don't blame me.
Might be worth spelling these out because of the sound.
Just take it up with the countries in question, because it's nothing to do with me. But there's one here. I think it's in Indonesia somewhere. It's Bum Bum Island. There's lots of bums. There's Anus, Muff Creek.
Where's that?
That's in Australia, actually. Yeah, okay. There's quite a lot of them in Australia, Leo. I wonder if you live anywhere near here. So there's Peculiar Knob, Butt Street. Okay. Cat's Dingleberries is quite good. I think that's in Alaska.
I was going to say, I was going to say, sounds American.
Yeah, there's one in Canada, which is there's actually, I think they missed this out. I think it should be in Nepal. It's called Ragged Ass Road, but I think that should be in Nepal. But there you go. I will stop for now all these sensitive ears.
Good man. Right, last one, Dave. Last one, because this is the kind of the best one.
There we go. So this is it. Basically, the only.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, this is my my cycling pizza cutter. Obviously, it's the only type of bike I can ride at the moment, and it combines two of my great things, which is pizza and bicycles. And at least this way, I can carb load for when I'm back on the bike by eating pizza and still get a ride out of it. So yeah, very nice.
Well, Dave, we're never ones to rub anything in here, EverTrek, but I know you can't go on the other bike right now. So yeah, hope you're enjoying that one, mate.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it combines two of my most favorite things, which is riding a bicycle and pizza. And, that is literally the closest that I can get. But yeah, I guess what we'll have to do is at some point, maybe every live, I'll read out a couple more naughty place names from my from here. But
anyone else, share. If you've ever been to any interesting or funny named places, share them. We'd love to hear them. Because
Cat's Dingleberries is my favorite. I'm going to retire to Cat's Dingleberries. I'll probably order something. Butt Lane. Did the pizza come with one pet? Brilliant. actually, do you know what it does come with? It comes with a John that tows it along this way, So,
brilliant.
Yeah, it was great. No, it's been a good day. Also, I've got some yum-yums as well. So, it's nice. It's not going to be a healthy eating day today.
Well,
but
Dave, you can
yeah,
have a day off, mate. It's fine,
a day off
enjoy.
what?
Enjoy.
I was going to say a day off eating
Sorry.
unhealthily is what I need.
I was going to say a day off your bike, but you got.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, no,
Sorry, Dave.
Gotta laugh. Every person I see now, I don't know if any of you have seen the video. I think I put it on my Instagram, so some of you might have seen it. But basically everywhere I go now, everyone shouts, John, because obviously that's what I was crying when I fell off my bike. But I'm sorry. But
mate, it sounded, yeah. It's weird because internally, me and Dave got this thing. We always laugh at each other. We fall over or inhale pasties. Dave.
I nearly died at the Adventure Travel Show. Yeah, inhaling it. It was actually a gourmet sort of sausage roll, if you remember, but it was really flaky pastry on it. And as Andy was talking to a customer, I took a bite and I just breathed in sharply for some reason and inhaled like pastry into my lungs. Nearly died. Couldn't breathe for ages. It like spasmed and yeah, I looked over and Andy was crying with laughter at the fact that I nearly died. Yeah,
I couldn't help it, Dave. Obviously, I knew you were okay. We had to make sure you're okay first, but we do like to laugh at other people's demise, don't we, Dave? But anyway, right, Dave. Yeah, hope you enjoy your prezzies, mate.
Yeah, thanks very much.
No worries. But should we crack on with some questions?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, so we've had a few that have come in. I noticed there was one about. I'll tell you what. I'll answer it really quickly because I know the answer. Is Marky V?
Yes.
Said his Maindle Bhutans and the Superfeet Trailblazers have arrived, but they're a bit tight. I'll be honest with you. My Maindles were a bit tight as well. They actually feel quite snug on the width of the foot. Two things I'll say: they do get easier because they're leather boots. They will stretch them more, and as you bend the leather and it sort of widens with the foot sort of bends, they will widen slightly. I never noticed any rubbing, even though they perhaps were a bit tight. I never noticed any rubbing because I think they've got that memory foam around the upper and stuff like that. So if it were me, I'd persevere, but please don't. I don't want to encourage you to keep a 200 pair of boots if they don't fit right. So if they don't fit right, obviously you make your own call. From my experience with them, yes, they were a bit tight for me as well. I tend to have a broader foot, but they did loosen up the more I used them, and they never rubbed even during that wearing in period. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, just jump in as well, Dave, because I obviously got a pair of Maindle Bhutans. Great boot, Mark. Great boot. I remember, when I first wore them, first couple of hikes, they were a bit cozy, and I did get the insoles, which made a hell of a difference. For me, more it was kind of length, just because it was probably half a size too big, but they're fine now. And I found that by treating them, you can buy. I bought some sort of, I think it's specific from Maindle. I forgot the exact name, but essentially it sort of waxes them because they're leather. And after a while, then they kind of do, they do sort of spread out a little bit. So definitely, if you can get that, I forgot the name of it now, but it's made by Maindle, and it's actually treatment that you can buy direct from them. It was actually via Amazon, so you can just have a little look on Amazon, type Maindle. Obviously, the Bhutans will come up, but so will all the accessories and stuff. Definitely have a look at that. Dave, I got one for. Let's have a look. Who we got? I'll tell you what. Quick one. Deirdre McDonald's asked, "Do you have to have a COVID vaccine to go on your trips?" No. So Deirdre, I mean, when it comes to coming on our trips, it's not something that will be, a necessity. Essentially, it's in terms of traveling to the destination. Depends on the country you're coming from and what the rules are from there, from coming out, leaving, depending on what country you're going to. So, for instance, in the UK, we've obviously got the upcoming, I think later this week, is the green, amber, red situation. So if you're on green, I think it's just a PCR test before and after you come back. No quarantine. If it's amber, same, but with quarantine at home. And then red is quarantine at a hotel, which is quite a lot of money. This is coming into the UK now. But then obviously the countries you go into will have their own requirements. I think by the time we run trips, I'd like to think that most of this is gone. Most of this will be relaxed a little bit. That won't really be a decision. I mean, obviously, we're always talk about free decisions, and we don't want to say, okay, sort of stop people from going on trips because if you decide you don't want it. I mean, obviously, me and Dave have had it, and we're always like, we're on that side of the fence that we think you should, but obviously we're all adults and we all make our own decisions. We feel that's the best way to kind of try and get rid of this thing. But yeah, essentially on our trips, we won't say, well, if you haven't had it, you're not allowed. We won't be like that. It's just depending on the country you're coming from and you're arriving into. And if that's, if you're allowed and we can run trips, then obviously you can come on our trips and we'd love to have you with us. Because certainly, yeah, I mean, it's, we never envisaged this going on for so long, and we know it's really frustrating, and, we've been planning for when we can, all the times we've been doing these lives, we can't wait to actually go on these trips and the mountains. I know we can obviously do it in the UK or whatever we are, whether you're in Knobs Creek and with Leah with in Australia, wherever you are, we want to get back to the real mountains. So hopefully that's soon. But yeah, I hope that answers your question a little bit.
Awesome. On to something more serious, and peeing in the night at the tea house. Okay, so Joel has said he's got some rab quilted down slippers. Okay, they're really brilliant, Joel. For the love of all that's holy, don't wear them to any toilets in the tea lodges. The floors are not just wet; they're not with pee. The sort of moisture, and also the way you flush them is manually by pouring water down them. That gets everywhere. I always bring a pair of sliders, and that's all I wear pretty much in and around the tea house. It's just some sliders. Keep those quilted down slippers in your sleeping bag. Don't take them out of there, to be honest. I wouldn't walk around the lodges at all with those type of things. Yeah,
some people do, don't they? We have seen it
maniacs,
before, Maniacs,
yeah. Maniacs, yeah. Maniacs do. I would not walk around like you. No, that'd be just rough.
I know there's people on here who have worn them. I'm not going to name names, but I
mean, I've got nothing against them. Wearing them in the room, wearing them in your tent, and stuff like that. But if we're talking about specifically going to a toilet, they're in the tea house on the EBC track, I wouldn't wear anything soft and quilted. I wouldn't, nothing absorbent. You want something that's wiped downable, really.
I see Joel went for a nice pun as well about kneeling, Dave.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, I guess I could always kneel down. To be honest, mate. Yeah, if it is. Yeah.
Just clarify. You mentioned sliders, Dave. I know, obviously, you call them that, but they're pretty much flip flops, aren't they? But they're the type of, instead of having it where it goes through, they come over your feet, right?
Yeah, it's just like, flip flops, sandals. Basically, you just slide your feet into them. Nothing goes between the toes or anything. That's why they call them sliders, because you just slide in.
Yeah.
Nice and easy.
Nice and easy sliding.
I got a pair of Adidas ones that I've had for about 12 years. They don't die. They're just made of plastic and rubber. So I've had them about 12 years now, and they've been, I think, every trip to the Himalaya, every trip to Tanzania. Yeah, they're like my probably been more trips than any of my other kit, to be honest. The sliders.
I certainly don't. I remember it's quite vividly seeing Dave in socks and sliders, and I was like, Dave, you in the 70s?
Socks and sliders, mate. I'll rock socks and sliders casually. Got lots of time for socks and sliders. Yeah.
Or as Shona says, pool shoes. That's probably a good. That's a good example of what they are. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I always say never. Don't look to me for any fashion advice ever. I am socks and sliders. White socks in shorts. I don't care.
Yeah. Right, mate. What is next? So we got Michelle Vickers. I thought I'd answer this one, Dave. My middle son wants to do the Everest trip. Awesome. What is the youngest age you allow? So essentially, we've had people who are younger than, say, 16 who have been on our trip. We always like to have sort of a chat first, just because I know some sort of 12, 14-year-olds who are like super fit, into walking. For them, I'd say Everest Base Camp is totally achievable. But then I've got family, and I've got, we'll say 12 years old, 14 years old, and I think, that's no chance. They need to do a little bit more. But I hate to stop and say no to anyone. So let's have a chat about it. I'd love to sort of see what age. We normally say that if they're under 18, they do have to go with an adult. So we have had people who have been a 16-year-old who came with his dad and his two brothers. Guy called Alan, absolutely coming back with us to do now that 16-year-old is now 18 and wants to do Island Peak. So certainly it is 100% something definitely have a conversation around. Just drop us a little, drop us a message, info@evertrek.co.uk, and we can have a chat about that. maybe a bit of background and about how we can make that happen for you. Definitely.
Yeah, awesome. We've had one
Yeah.
from. So Tom Massetto says, does EverTrek organise a three-peak Yorkshire challenge? No, we don't. However, I would point out that a few of the EverTrekkers on there that have met via the high altitude group have been sort of self-organizing some trips.
Yeah.
It's nothing we're organizing, but you guys EverTrekkers are getting together. I think Ramona, Diane, Jerome, a few others as well. So yeah, if you'll see their names on this list. So yeah, just drop them a message and get in touch with them. I think they mainly do it in the Peak District and stuff. In fact, do they call themselves the Peak District Gang?
Peaky Climbers, wasn't it? So I can't
Climbers,
remember now.
Peak District Clan.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, if you want to go hiking with
Something
Google
like that,
Letters,
yeah.
then yeah, go with those guys. But yeah, so drop them a message. Like I said, don't bother messaging us. We don't run them. I don't. Hopefully, I'll be able to join one sooner rather than later. Yeah, it'd be great to trek with some of the EverTrekkers. But no, drop those guys a bit of a message, and yeah, Tom, I'm sure they'll sort you out.
Yeah, we've. I mean, over the last few years, because we're high altitude specialists. That's what we've done. That's where we come from. That's our bread and butter. Obviously because of the restrictions and because of the demand as such, we've tried to obviously do some things in the UK, mainly from a training perspective. For the bigger challenges. And a Yorkshire Three Peaks Challenge. The National Three Peaks Challenge, the Welsh Three Peaks Challenge. There's lots of challenges out there. We are running some training weekends, which are slightly different. They're more of sort of getting the EverTrekkers together and to kind of show them our way. Essentially, it's like a Tuesday tuning on throughout the whole weekend, whilst doing some hiking in the beautiful Brecon Beacons. So that's kind of what we organise. But yeah, we have noticed, we've had messages from people who are organising things sort of separately. There was a couple of times people like booking in because obviously someone wanted to use the EverTrekker, which is fine, and we understand that. Because we people love to be part of the community and they're using our name, but we had to kind of taper it a little bit because then we get people saying, "Oh, you're organising this," and we have to, for clarity, try and have that degree of separation, just so people don't think that we're organising that, because when it comes to the trips, essentially the high altitude stuff is where we that's our domain.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously drop us a message, guys. I mean, we're open and transparent about all this stuff. So, if you want to know anything about that, we'll put you in touch with the guys. I know, Ramona, Jerome, obviously organizing certain things. I know we've got a lot of EverTrekkers who are also mountain guides themselves, and always out and about. I think there's Andy Whale, a great part of the community, has taken people before. So, but obviously not part of us, but part of the community, and we'll definitely pass your deets on, if you want to go on those, because at the end of the day, if it's EverTrekkers meeting EverTrekkers, brilliant, and hopefully,
exactly.
Every now and again we see you guys on the mountains, off. This is time off the training weekends or trips or anything, and we hike with people, and it's great. We love it. If we're out at the same time, brilliant. We love the mountains just as much as you guys, but definitely drop them a message. I can see, was it Escape to the Peak District Gang? Like that.
Awesome.
Does sound like a dodgy gang, but I'm sure it's fine. Brilliant. Right, Dave. What's the next question, mate? I'm just
have a quick look now. So, any recommendations? So, Kath Jones, any recommendations for boots for really narrow feet? Really narrow. Depends how narrow. Like I said, the main Louboutins are not particularly that wide, but you also might want to try. I know La Sportiva, pretty narrow. I think. Also, some people have ordered some narrow from what's the name now? Oh my god, Handwag. I think it's called Handwag. I've heard some people using those Handwags as like narrower, slightly narrower boots. To be honest, my advice would be play around with. Don't just think of the boots. I always think boots come in sort of boots, and then I look for a good insole as well by combining, because rarely will boots off the shelf come with a good enough insole. So try those different combinations, and also try loads of different boots as well, because I have found with boot sizing that broad, narrow is a little bit subjective, so it all depends on what the manufacturers and the brands think is broad and narrow. So yeah, try. I felt like I want to start singing Molly Malone there. You know, streets broad and narrow. Sorry, Ramona.
I know, Dave. I realised over what was it a few days ago now. We're in the van, and yeah, you really like that music, right? Was it what are they called again? The High Kings?
Oh, there's the High Kings, which are more modern, and the Dubliners. Yeah,
The Dubliners. Yeah.
do you know what? It's really weird. It was just I've never been to Ireland. It's great
I can't
country.
believe that. We're
I
gonna have
know
to go
it's one of my it's on my bucket list. It is big time on my bucket list, and it's one I'll probably do this year. But yeah, no, love the sort of Irish folk music, Dublin and stuff like that. Listening to it for the last, I don't know, 20 years.
It's
You know?
brilliant. No, I
Yeah,
see you
love
playing
that
the
sort
other
of
night.
stuff.
I was like, brilliant. Mate, getting a lot of love for your socks and sandals. You know, hashtag passion killers. I think Dave Rimington has said,
That's
but you know, getting a lot of love for it. There's a few people on board with it. I think Andy wants to do it. So not me, different Andy. There's a few out there, mate. Yeah. So there we go.
I think Andy McNaughton-Joe said he's wearing socks with Adidas sliders right now. Man after my own heart, clearly. You know, passion killers is fine by me too. You know. Yeah, you know, it's all good. You know, I stopped wearing clothes for fashion and you know, peacocking a long time ago. Now I'm more about form and function now, that sort of thing.
Function.
Brilliant. But yeah, I think Ramona's just you know, fallen backwards off her chair that I've never been to Ireland. So yeah, Ramona, if you want to, you know, I don't know why it is. It's one of those, you know, where people like they have these kind of obsessions with places, but they never seem to get there for some reason. Like Ireland's one of mine. I want to visit West Cork. I want to go to all the big cities as well and do some new pubs. But if you have any recommendations for me or any other Irish, drop me a message.
Nice. Well, Dave, I'm going to go on to some other ones. I think Stephen Warner only just joined. So yeah, any advice on tapering off exercise before a big event? Yeah, so any adventure. Obviously, if you're doing any challenges, you know, in the UK, anything like that, or if you go into, say, Everest Base Camp or Killy, yeah, certainly we always advise, I'd say, you know, a week or two before you go, try and taper that off because you don't want to get any last minute injuries. You know, I've seen it before. People get, you know, obviously it's very frustrating. You know, if you got an injury before you go, yes, it can be super frustrating. So yeah, just taper it off. So if you are training, you know, if you're say 8 weeks, 6 weeks out, just try and kind of gently do less and less as you get towards your date. And then, you know, you're ready for your trip then. You know, you get some people who don't really do much training at all, turn up and, you know, okay, it's hard. They find it really hard, but then they still do it. You know, we go back to what we talked about at the beginning of this, which is around, you know, having strong mind, strong heart. And yeah, they done it. But yeah, with regards to training, just to answer your question, yeah, definitely taper that off a week or two before you go.
Awesome. No, can't pronounce it. Also, Deirdre as well. Awesome. I didn't realize we had such an Irish contingent here. You know, we're going to have to do. I tell you what, I'm going to have to go over to Ireland and we'll do an Ireland special or something like that. You
That's
know?
Good.
But yeah,
I'll be up for that.
Loads of recommendations. I know it's a sacrilege that I haven't been. It's been one of those places that I've wanted to go to pretty much all my life, and I just never find an opportunity to go. But I need to make it an opportunity. This is another mindset thing for me. I want to go. I should go. I should make plans and set it up. So yeah,
one of my big things, mate. Pick a target.
One thing about these sliders that's coming up, maybe Leah can confirm this. Maybe Andy, you've done a bit of traveling. Do Australians call like flip flops thongs?
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
I think
Leah can confirm.
Yeah, anything that sort of, I don't know, goes between something might be a thong. I don't know.
Well, it's either a budgie smuggler or a thong.
Nice.
Different things.
Yeah, exactly. So, any other questions we've got at the minute? So, Leah again, just got a severe weather warning. We guys, honestly, there's enough bad weather in Wales to share around, Leah. It's about time you had some. Yeah, and then Stephen Warner only just joined. Sorry, any advice on tapering off exercise? Just go back about 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and Andy will answer that one because I just read it out again.
That's all right. Yeah, are there any bad storms on Killy? Dave, I remember before when the night before we went, we climbed Killy February last year. They had like 40, 50 miles an hour winds, didn't they? It can happen.
Yeah, it was. We had a real bad storm, a lightning storm. So we were at. not Karanga. No, it was Karanga, I think, just before Barafu. And we were above the clouds looking up at the summit, and it was like a Pink Floyd concert in the tent. Like the tent was lighting up with the lightning flashes, really, really high winds. And apparently around 50% of the people that went for the summit that night actually turned back. It was beautiful for us because the lightning lighting up the sky with the clouds below and above, it was stunning. But luckily when we went there, we caught the tail end of that storm. So although we had really high winds, it wasn't, if anything, it just made it slightly more awesome. It was like, felt more epic somehow, but it wasn't as bad as the night before. But yeah, you can get pretty bad storms on Killy. Most of the time, not. Probably you'll just get rain showers. It's, you know, it's got its own sort of microclimate, so it does rain most afternoons. But you know, I wouldn't worry too much about the badness, the bad storms.
No, and I think you know, we always take a sort of educated approach to it. You know, and the guides will make a decision. I mean, ultimately, obviously, safety is key. But you know, going up summit in Kilimanjaro. Whilst we're talking about Kilimanjaro,
you need to wait for Jerome.
Essentially, the lesser spotted Yeti.
That's the lesser. There you are, Jerome. Hopefully, you're happy. That's as much as anyone sees of Jen. We keep her locked away in this room, coming up with strategies.
Yeah, keep her in. No, I'm joking. Sorry, where were we? Yeah, we talked about Kili. You know, and the wind and the weather. You know, your guide will ultimately have the decision on terms. Okay, guys, it's too bad. We got to turn back, or you know, we obviously don't want to make that decision, but always safety first. And I think that's why even, you know, they got unlucky the previous night with that wind. It was, you know, you're talking 50 miles an hour up there. It's cold as well. Yeah, that's pretty difficult. But you know, obviously these are the mountains. These are the challenges we take on. It can't always be a summer's day. Can't always be beautiful. I mean, that's why the mountains are challenging and dangerous, and that's why we love them.
Yeah, exactly. There's another question about toilets has come through. There's also one on sunglasses, but I'll pass that to you in a second, Dan. So Rebecca Papillons, I can't remember. Papillons, does that mean butterfly?
I think it's papillon.
Anyway, yeah, Rebecca. You saw this question has been asked before, but what happens when you need to do the loo on the way to EBC? Are there places to stop on the way, or is it a case of having to find a place behind a rock? So you have at least guaranteed 2 options every day, when you wake up in the morning at the lodge and when you finish in the late or early afternoon at the lodge. Actually 3, and then also where you have lunch during the day. So there's 3 options every single day, at the start, in the middle, and at the end of the day. Now, if you are caught short, if you have a bit of the Nepalese napalm, as we call it, and you've got to find one, it's what I call doing a wildie. So, you know, you have to find a secluded spot, put some effort into your chosen spot. This is something I've become a little bit of an expert at, is because if you see a rock or a particular bush that looks like it would be a perfect place to go to the toilet, 400 people have already decided before you, and it's a dark experience. So really put some effort in. Go that extra 10 yards past that rock and find another one, you know. And and you'll do it. But honestly, you can say to your guides at any time, you know, I really need to go to the toilet, and they can kind of help you with it, make sure, you know, it's secluded and stuff like that. And otherwise, you've got 3 guaranteed points a day where you can have a toilet.
Yeah, exactly, Dave. Exactly. One thing, Lorna Howard. Hey, Lorna. If the trip doesn't sell out, is there a minimum that is needed for the trip to go ahead? No, especially in Nepal, Kilimanjaro, Tubkal, Machu Picchu. There are certain ones where we're open up soon that might have that because of the place where you're at. Like if there's any sort of proper expeditions, like we're talking about Patagonia ice fields. There's some limitations on that, but essentially, if one person goes on say, you know, 99% of our trips, then it can go ahead. You know, we can run a trip with one person essentially. So I know there's a lot of there's a lot of companies out there that do have that. You know, they're not quite, they say guaranteed, but essentially all of our trips guaranteed. You know, because if you book on, obviously you want the group experience and the EverTrek experience. So if that's what you want, when you book in. Sometimes it'll say like limited availability, and we're working on some changes at the moment where it might show the exact number of people then are available, which obviously gives you a bit more indication. But, you know, just drop us a message as well, you know, info@evertrek.co.uk. And if you want to, you know, because some people like to go on a trip for different reasons. Some people don't really mind how big the group is. Some people, if they go 1 or 2 people, that's great. Some people want to have a bigger group, you know, maybe 10, 12 people, you know, and that's fine. And then we can always sort of say, okay, this group has got this much, you know, do you want us to go there? and we can accommodate that. So yeah, just let us know, what you're after, what sort of journey you're after. A lot of people just kind of book on and see how it goes, because they'll have an awesome time regardless. So yeah, it just comes down to yourself, Lorna. But just to I suppose allay that concern that if there's only one or two people that will cancel it. No, we won't do that. We've had people where it's just one, and not a very popular date, but someone wants to go on that date. And some of them, I remember a gentleman called Ian Foley. Don't know if you've been on the High Altitude EverTrekkers Facebook group, and he's on there with some of his pictures. He booked in, I think it was like 2017, when he went with us, and it was relatively smaller groups then, because we've grown a little bit since, a lot since. But he had an awesome time, and he still talks about how awesome that trip is, and can't wait to have him back. Obviously, might be a few more people on the trips this time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Laura, hope that answers your question.
Yeah, awesome. Question from Heidi. If you can't summit because of the weather, is that it, or do you try again? So on Kili, on the normal itinerary, to be fair, it is one and done. We don't really have any contingency days, but that's because of it's highly, highly unlikely that there'll ever be a sun area where the weather's so bad on Kilimanjaro that you can't summit. That reference, the storm I referenced earlier, people even still summited. I think it was just perhaps a little bit overwhelming for some, so they turned back, but people did make it. There's no sheer drops, there's no major exposure, so high wind is not that much of a risk because you're not going to be blown off or anything like that. It's very broad, the path. So yeah, it's just loud, noisy, bit more effort to get there, I guess. But yeah, so it is planned that 1 day for summit on Kilimanjaro is more than enough to give us a success rate that is extremely, extremely high. I mean, I guess you could always go back down, extend your flight, and go back up again. You just got to drop us an email,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're talking about very, very rare. I mean, geez, with Kili, I mean, relatively new to us, only sort of year and a half really been in terms of trips. But in terms of the history of it, speaking to and doing the research, very rare that it'll happen. And again, it comes down to how the teams manage as well. I mean, we're always quite relatively small groups. Say small groups, less than 12. But that makes it a bit easier to manage then, and instead of having sort of 30, 40 people to look after on the mountain, which, bad weather. Yeah. As you can imagine, when it's a bigger pool of people, you get people who just, weather, I'm done. Whereas most of the time, I'd say, generally, you get a lot of EverTrekkers who are quite hardcore, who like that, the wind, the weather, the snow. If you're from certain parts of the world, you're used to that anyway. Certainly we get a lot of rain in Wales, so anything else a bonus, really. But yeah, some people just love that. But look, we certainly don't want to push you out of your comfort zone, and we won't force you up there. It's your own decision, but we'll obviously help you. And if it's something you really want to do, I think I saw a message earlier from Jerome about I think one of his comments about sort of didn't really visualize the summit. Essentially, it was more he just went and enjoyed it and did the summit. But I think it certainly comes down to the individual. I would say just very rare that would happen. Even we were surprised. People turning back. We don't hear about that for weather on Kili.
No,
mainly it's altitude. If you've got people who just haven't acclimatized. But that's why we go the long way, so we can limit that. When it comes to we go the long way so you acclimatize better. Still difficult, because you're almost at 6,000 meters here. You can't get away from that. But it gives you the best chance, and it's got the highest success rate. So, yeah, if you're with us, you should be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Paul Meacher, how's it going, Paul? Hopefully you're doing well. Paul has asked, is it possible to pay extra, go on your own with just one guide? On Kilimanjaro, I mean, but you could potentially do it, but it's, in my opinion, it's better to go as a group, but you'd always have more than just you and the guide.
Yeah.
So even if there is just one person on a trip, there'll always be one guide, one assistant guide, at least one porter carrying the bag. On Kilimanjaro, it's a lot easier to send a group, just because also you have to bring more porters to carry the kitchen tent, the toilet tent, all the cooking stuff. So it's not very economical. It doesn't make much economical sense for anyone to do it with just one person. So the additional cost of getting all that up there might be a little bit unnecessary. But I mean, if someone really wanted to do it, I guess it could be done. But there would always be at least you, a guide, an assistant guide, a porter, a cook. So yeah, I don't know if the actual like one-to-one experience is really an option on Kilimanjaro, just given the nature of what it takes to get up and down that mountain.
Yeah, nice. I think with Paul, he's doing Everest Base Camp.
Oh, for EBC. Okay, yeah.
I know it's slightly different there, Dave, isn't it?
Yeah, it's slightly different on EBC. EBC's it's a lot easier to do sort of one sort of individuals, because then we can do probably a guide, a porter, maybe an assistant guide. But because you've got the tea houses at everyone, it's a lot simpler to do. You can just go in a much smaller group. So that is definitely more realistic than Kilimanjaro. Drop me an email. We can talk more about it.
Yeah, definitely.
I had one question about the sunglasses, and I don't think we've done it, did we?
Okay. Oh, sorry, mate.
Who was it? Somewhere around here. I can't remember who asked it. And Kelly Taylor. Also, any recommendations for sunglasses that won't require me to sell an organ? So sunglasses, when you go in Kili or EBC, there is a school of thought that says, that getting them with a really with strong UV protection for the eyes is a really good idea. So the Jublos are really good. They're sort of designed for people who go onto mountains, glacier travel, that sort of thing. So they really do protect the eyes very well. Depending on how much Jublos you can buy from around £60 to maybe £150. But any sunglasses are better than no sunglasses, but it's more when you're going to EBC, for instance. It's when you're on the glacier, the reflection of the sun back up can really make your eyes sore. Same on Kilimanjaro as well. The extra UV coming in directly into the eyes is a problem. So any sunglasses are better than no sunglasses. I recommend Jublos. You can buy them. You can get a bargain on eBay, I'm sure. And they offer really, really good protection for the eyes, good lenses as well. So that's what I would recommend. Otherwise, just go for there are loads of different brands out there that offer UV protection and stuff like that. So you can go cheaper if you want to. Just concentrate on the UV protection.
I love that. Won't require me to sell an organ. I love that, Kelly. But yeah, some of them are very, very decent prices these days. Obviously, I know you've got the specialist ones, which are a few hundred quid, which are pricey. You can get some decent ones. I mean, we're always talking about, and I get this, when it comes to, you've got a budget for certain things. But I was thinking, I've learned this, not the hard way. I've been quite lucky, touch wood. But in my backpacker days, I used to just get like a pound cool Ray-Ban, fake Ray-Ban sunglasses somewhere in a shop in the middle of Thailand. And I used to use those for like the rest of my backpacking days. But then when you go to altitude, you realize how strong the sun is, and you realize, that it's so powerful because the air is thinner, more UV rays getting in. And you're like, geez, what's this doing to my eyes? Because the first time I went to base camp, I think I only had again, relatively, I think it was like £15 sunglasses. And the reason I used to get sort of cheap sunglasses was because my lifestyle, because I live quite an active lifestyle and was doing something, they just got damaged all the time. And I thought, why should I spend £150 on a pair when they're just going to break? And it wasn't until I think about 2 years ago, I bit the bullet and I bought, I think it might have been these actually. I think it was about 2 years ago, before a ski trip. And I noticed the difference now. I feel like your eyes are just healthier. And I know it's a lot of money, £100, but I see the value now because I think, okay, my eyes are safe because I know they're really good lenses. There's not too much light getting through, so I'm not straining. I'm not squinting as much, which means I get less of the old wrinkles, which is always a benefit. So yeah, but I understand where you're coming from, in terms of trying to not spend too much money, but sometimes you have to look after your body in a way. And sunglasses, like I said, I'm flipped now. I'd rather spend more money on those than say a pair of trousers. I'd rather get a cheaper pair of trousers, knowing they go on, and rather put some extra dollars towards the sunnies. Because you need your eyes, especially in years later, and I'm kind of learning that now. And for me going forward now, I definitely sort of, in terms of my budget, I'd allocate more. It's like we talk about the important things. You've got your down jacket and your hiking boots. I'd spend more of my money on those two things, and I think the sunglasses have definitely become part of those now for me. And I know everyone's different, obviously, but just if that helps, Kelly, in terms of your decisions.
Awesome. Joel Palmer, we're getting to the end of the questions now, pretty much. But judging by the distance on, judging by the distance on Killy, do people do it in a few days if they don't suffer from altitude? The difficulty is with that is you don't know if you're going to suffer from altitude or not at the start of the trip, and you've got to commit to the route at the start of the trip. So there are shorter routes that was it Maranguand, or is that shorter than even again the 4 or 5 day one?
The Coca-Cola route, yeah.
Coca-Cola route, they call it, yeah. Which is basically a really direct route to the summit. Yeah, it has about a 50% success rate. So pretty much half of everyone that starts that route won't make it to the summit. I hazard a guess that the half that do make it don't feel that great when they get there. So it is possible, but it's not recommended. In terms, it dilutes everything. So your total time experience in the mountain, how well you acclimatize, how much you enjoy it. It's all, there's no need to rush it. And like I said, you've got to commit to the route at the beginning, and you don't know if you're going to suffer from altitude. So everyone sort of, gambles a little bit because it is a little bit of an unknown, but you really are sort of seriously gambling on a bad hand if you start on that route and go straight to the top really quickly. So yeah, hopefully that covers that.
Yeah, nice, Dave. Yeah, nice. A couple of questions coming through. One that sticks out actually. Dave Rimington, is funky dancing mandatory on the last night on EBC? Yes, David, it is. if you've seen any videos popping around social media, it's been photoshopped, not me or Dave.
Yeah. Oh, I'll be there laughing at the pronunciation of route. I think route means something else in Australia. Yeah. So if I'm right in saying I'm off home for a route, that would be a little bit rude, I think. Maybe Leader can clarify that.
I don't know that one, Dave. I don't know. And usually I'm my Aussie lingo, but
I think it means something else.
So Jerome's off. Cheers, Jerome. Right, a couple of people joined late. I want to get your questions answered because I can see them dropping in. Stuart Taylor has asked, "Hey guys, look at the jewel bows online. Very few shops sell them. Look at the Explorer 2. Are they one size fits all?" Yeah, Dave, I know you've worn way more. Route to the spot. You've worn way more jewel bows than me, but Explorer 2. Have you heard of them? Any good? One size fits all?
I'm assuming so. What I'm going to do, guys, is just channel the answer to that one. And then see if I can let's have a quick look. Wow, I think I own a pair. I think they're the ones I bought in Namche. Oh no, they're not. They're slightly different to the ones I bought in Namche. Honestly, they will be one size fits all. They're really good. They're actually, I think Jublos are mostly designed to give you like quite good coverage, so they might be quite large on the face. I think they are a larger glass, larger spectacle, but I actually I prefer the larger spectacle. So yeah, Jublos are pretty true to size. Leo has confirmed, a short route would be a good thing in Australia.
Brilliant. Yeah, why not? Always, if you've been around us for any length of time, you know that we like to take the long route when it comes to trips. But yeah, Dave, right. It's been a cracking hour. On your birthday. Thanks for coming and joining us and answering all these questions. I hope everyone's enjoyed it today. Been a little bit different, but yeah, heaps of questions. Some great there. Honestly, some funny answers. But look, Dave, you make sure you enjoy the rest of your day now.
Yeah, no worries. I am. Yeah,
time off, okay?
Yeah, well, I'm going to the hospital.
Sorry, some time off to visit.
That's my job. Yeah, I'm off to the hospital to find out exactly what level of damage I'm looking at. So next Tuesday, I'll probably have a further update. So,
well, hopefully you're back with us, mate. But maybe you might be chilling after operation. I know you hopefully get it as soon as you can. But right, guys. We'll finish the Tuesday tune-in for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. A little bit around at the beginning around mountain mindset. Hope there's a few nuggets for you there that hopefully might make a difference for you in the future. As always, anything you need, drop us an email, info@evertrek.co.uk. Drop us a message on Facebook or on the website. You've got a little chat there. Drop us a little message and we can obviously help you. And we'll see you next week. Hopefully by next week we'll have more of an update for especially UK end in terms of who's on what lists. Quite excited to see that. I think there's no getting around it. Unfortunately, with certain countries, obviously, it's quite challenging. But wait and see. But anyway, by next week, we'll have a bit more news on that.
Nice
but anyway, have a great week. Dave, you have a great birthday. And yeah, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Awesome. See you guys. Bye.
Adios, amigo.